Today's question is, what's the difference between iron-on and infusible ink when it comes to using your Cricut machine? This is the Creative Crafters Podcast. Hi, I'm Bette from Bette's Makes, and this is your questions answered. Now, that is a big question. So you can iron things on, or you can use infusible ink, and there's also another one, of course, which is sublimation, and all three of them are a bit different. So iron on is an HTV, heat transfer vinyl, where the artwork itself is attached to the top of the base material using an adhesive and then ironed on, and generally you will mirror that so that the design is backwards when you cut it, but when you push that surface onto, say, a t-shirt, it has a backing, you iron that on, and that becomes attached to the shirt. So that is your iron-on, and that can be heat transfer vinyl. Now, the second part of it, of course, is infusible ink. So infusible ink is designed so that it absorbs or becomes one with the material. It dyes it in a way, but it dyes it crisply. So, for example, if you draw something on a piece of paper with infusible ink and you put it upside down and on the shirt and iron it on, it will take that drawing and transfer it into the material of that shirt or whatever surface you're on, as long as it's the proper surface. So infusible ink products are applied onto infusible ink blanks. Now, suggestion is, of course, some polyester into it so it absorbs a little better. So usually Cricut has a lot of blanks that they sell that you can use to use infusible inks with, and they work just beautifully. So iron-on and HTV, heat transfer vinyl materials, can be applied to almost any surface. You just have to watch and make sure, do a little bit of a test to make sure that it's going to stay on or adhere to the material you're going to use. And of course, the last part of that equation is sublimation, which is a different type of ink. It's a chemical reaction, and it also becomes part of the material that you're using. So you can do a full design, and as long as you print it with sublimation ink on sublimation paper, that will become part of the material as well. But generally, the difference between iron-on and infusible ink and sublimation: iron-on is a vinyl or a heat transfer vinyl that's applied on top of the material. Infusible ink becomes part of the material, and sublimation also becomes a part of the material. This has been the Creative Crafters Podcast, and your questions answered.